It was a big day for Mr. and Mrs. Bradin as they joyfully welcomed their adorable baby girl, Liana. She brought so much happiness into their lives, filling their home with love and laughter. Each little giggle and smile from Liana made their hearts shine brighter, and her parents couldn't be prouder. They worked hard to give Liana everything she needed for a happy and healthy start in life. Mrs. Bradin, with her caring nature, watched Liana grow every day. She read parenting books and asked friends and doctors for advice, always eager to be prepared for whatever Liana might need. However, as time went on, things didn't seem quite right. Liana's first birthday came, but she still hadn't taken her first steps. While other children her age were starting to walk, Liana preferred sitting on the floor and playing with her toys. Mrs. Bradin's happiness slowly turned into worry. She noticed that Liana was not reaching important milestones, like standing or walking. Each day, she hoped to hear the joyful sound of little feet, but the house remained quiet. As Liana approached 18 months, it became hard to ignore the signs that worried her mother. Mrs. Bradin's concerns grew stronger, and she felt it was time to see a doctor. She took Liana to visit Dr. William, their trusted pediatrician. Sitting nervously in the doctor's office, she shared her worries. "I'm really worried. Liana isn't walking yet, and she's not even standing on her own. Is something wrong?" Dr. William, a kind and gentle doctor, knelt down next to Liana and smiled warmly. "Most children start walking by now, but every child develops at their own pace. Let's give it a little more time and keep watching." Mrs. Bradin felt a mix of relief and worry after hearing his words. However, as the months passed with no progress, her concern only grew. Liana's second birthday was coming soon, and it was clear that something wasn't right. Despite her mother's loving support and encouragement, Liana still couldn't stand or walk alone. She moved slowly and lagged behind other children her age, leaving Mrs. Bradin anxious about her daughter's future. Determined to find answers, Mrs. Bradin made another appointment with Dr. William. This time, she felt a sense of urgency. Liana was almost 2 years old and still not walking, which worried her parents deeply. "What should we do?" they asked. Dr. William examined Liana carefully and suggested more tests. When the first results didn't show anything clear, he recommended genetic testing and told them to wait for the results. Mr. and Mrs. Bradin anxiously waited, knowing Liana was their only child, and they would do anything for her. A few hours later, the results came in, revealing something unexpected. They learned that Liana had Morquio Syndrome, a rare genetic condition affecting her bone growth and movement. This news was devastating for the Bradin family. Dr. William explained what Morquio Syndrome meant and how it would affect Liana's future. Hearing this was tough, and Liana's parents found it hard to understand what it all meant for their little girl. They had so many dreams for her, but now those dreams felt uncertain. Yet, Liana showed a bright spirit that amazed her parents. With her innocent smile, she seemed unaffected by the heavy news, giving her parents hope that everything would be okay. As Liana got older, the reality of her condition became clearer. She had to undergo several surgeries to help her move better, including tough operations on her hips and feet. By the time she turned 11, her life was quite different from her friends. Liana used crutches and sometimes a wheelchair, facing new challenges each day, but always with her brave heart. Yet, Liana's spirit remained unbroken. Her determination and courage inspired her family, especially her mother. Instead of accepting the limits set by her condition, they decided to find ways to help Liana live a full and active life. Their search led them to a wonderful place called the Service Dog Project in Massachusetts. This organization trains Great Danes to help people with balance and mobility challenges. Known for their large size, gentle nature, and calm personalities, Great Danes were perfect companions for someone like Liana. The Bradin family began volunteering at the Service Dog Project, hoping it would benefit Liana. During one visit, something special happened. While they played with the dogs, a Great Dane named Nelson caught Liana's eye. Nelson had a sleek black coat and a tall frame. Unlike some of the more playful dogs, he was calm and focused. When Liana and Nelson looked at each other, something magical happened. An instant connection formed between them, filling Liana with joy and hope for a brighter future. Nelson approached Liana slowly, his eyes full of gentle understanding. Even though he was a big dog, he moved carefully so he wouldn't scare her. He circled around Liana, always staying close, as if he knew she needed extra care. Intrigued by this calm dog, Liana reached out to pet him. Her crutches slipped from her hands, but before anyone could help, Nelson stepped in. He stood by her side, shielding her from the playful dogs around them, and Liana felt a strong sense of trust in him. One of the volunteers noticed and asked, "Are you okay, Liana?" She nodded, her eyes wide with surprise, but filled with relief. Gently, she placed her hand on Nelson's soft coat and whispered, "Thank you." In response, Nelson leaned into her touch, wagging his tail slowly. The volunteer smiled. "It looks like Nelson has found a friend. He's usually shy, but he seems to know just what you need." From that moment on, Nelson and Liana became best friends. Whenever they visited the Service Dog Project, Nelson stayed close to Liana, watching over her with a gentle care that touched everyone's hearts. Even Liana's mother, who had been worried about having such a big dog near her delicate daughter, started to see how much Nelson helped Liana. Soon, the Bradin family decided to bring Nelson home for the weekends. They wanted to see how he fit into their lives. Those weekends quickly turned into a permanent arrangement, making Nelson a cherished part of their family. With Nelson by her side, Liana felt a new sense of freedom and confidence. He was not just a service dog, he was her loyal companion, her protector, and a comforting friend. Having Nelson in her life changed Liana's world in ways her family never expected. He helped her move around more easily, giving her physical support, but he also brought emotional strength. Liana, who once felt held back by her condition, now had a faithful friend who made her believe she could face any challenge. Over time, Liana's view of life began to change. With Nelson by her side, she started to try things she never thought she could do. Whether it was going to the park, joining school events, or just moving around at home, Nelson was always there, offering support and companionship. Their bond grew stronger each day, making them truly inseparable. For the Bradin family, Nelson felt like a miracle. During one of the toughest times in their lives, he gave them hope. They had once worried about what Liana's future would look like with Morquio Syndrome. But now, thanks to Nelson, they began to see endless possibilities. Liana was flourishing in ways they had never imagined. Nelson's influence on Liana's life was incredible. He provided more than just physical support. He formed a deep emotional connection with her. He helped her feel free and confident, something no surgery or treatment could achieve. Together, they faced the world, showing that even tough journeys are easier with a loyal friend by your side. Liana's story turned into one of hope, love, and the strength of friendship. With Nelson, she discovered the courage to tackle challenges and live a joyful life. The future, once filled with worry, now looked bright. It was all thanks to a gentle giant who brought happiness, not just to Liana, but to everyone around her. Together, they proved that love and friendship can truly change lives. So, what are your thoughts about this heart-touching story? Share your opinions in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on our new animal stories. Your support means the world to us.